The boss raid problem inside of Type Soul. Now, it really isn't a problem. It's more so like I just want to spread light on a quote-unquote issue in Type Soul, or just something that you see a lot. The point of this video is me going to be talking about boss raiding inside Type Soul and what I feel like should be done to fix it. And it's not really that much of a problem. It's just that one thing that you notice in Type Soul is that majority of the builds that you see inside the game are going to be speed. And even if you look at me, I am a speed thunder user. If you think of a drone, I'm probably right there, right next to him. I'm speed thunder scythe. But a lot of people go speed, and honestly, when the game was first coming out, like the first couple of days, and people would be like, oh, all you see is just like flame dagger speed builds, lightning dagger speed builds, speeds this, speed that. You can slap speed on anything and it will usually be good. And speed is definitely still the most used skill tree today. It's just that I feel like it's for the right reason why everybody goes speed. And why everybody goes speed is because it is the only tree that can boss raid successfully. Now, you're probably gonna hear this and be like, what? I boss raided with Keto. Okay, what I'm trying to say is that if you're playing this game, most of your fights are not going to be 1 versus 1s. Majority of them are going to be you inside of ganks, or if you're farming raids, most of your fights are going to be you up against a 1v2, or if you're in Gladiator, that's like the chances where it's going to be a 1v1. But I'll say around like 60% to 65% of your fights inside this game are mainly going to be some type of gank. And the main issue with that and how it ties into speed is that you're going to need skills that hit a lot of people. You're also going to need good movement and maybe something that gives you temporary iframes so that you don't get hit by multiple skills all at once. And if you look at every skill tree inside Type Soul currently, the only one that can offer you that very blatantly is going to be speed. Some of the things that speed has are the flash step mastery, and you also have multiple barrage skills. Well, you only have fast fang and waterfall dance. It's just that if you use them the right way, they're really good to just continue boss raiding, and they hit multiple enemies at once, which make them very good. You also have Spectre Step, which gives you brief iframes if you time it the right way, and you also have Blooming Cut so that people can't run away from you, and just in case one of your opponents that you're fighting inside of a gank runs away from you, you use Blooming Cut and then you're able to easily just catch up with them. And this isn't me complaining about speed or anything, I just want to make a like little highlight video, because I feel like why everybody goes speed is because it's the only skill tree that can actually boss raid inside Type Soul. Now, I am a Kendo main. Kendo is my preferred skill tree, and I used to use the Lightning Kendo for a very long time, probably the build that I spent the most time on inside this game. It's just that the thing that Kendo lacks in, without having any of the skill boxes, is the fact that you can't really boss raid with it. Kendo and even Hakuda at that are going to be skill trees where it's mainly focused towards 1 versus 1s against a singular player. If you're using Hakuda, most of your combos are tied towards one person. You can up tilt 2 people if you land the skills the right way. It's just that it's not designed for you to be fighting against 2 people. It's designed for you to do a 1 versus 1 scenario where you're just brawling out against a person. Now, Kendo is not as 1v1 dominant as Hakuda. You can boss raid with Kendo, it's just that it is going to be very hard, especially depending on the builds that you're fighting. And if you're fighting a speed user, I feel like Kendo kind of is the little counterbalance towards speed. It's just that if you're fighting more than one speed user, you just easily get very overwhelmed. The skills with Kendo that you probably mainly want to use is like Flower Passage, Overpowering Slash, Mortal Ties. Those skills, they're not going to be hitting a lot of people. Everything in Kendo is really tied towards one person unless you have a skill box. So the thing that I'm trying to like highlight inside this video, or a change that I feel like could happen so that we could see less people just going the whole entire same build inside the game and have some type of diversity, is to simply just make every skill tree have some type of way to boss raid. Now, I don't want it towards like everybody can come inside the game in 1 versus 7. It's just that it should be able and viable to every skill tree and not tied mainly towards one, which would be the one that people lean to more, because most of the time inside this game, you're going to be fighting alone against more than one person. And outside of speed, the only other way to boss raid is if you have res or vault standing or even your Bankai. Because I currently have the Thunder Bankai, and honestly, I feel like this is one of the Bankais that were made for like boss raiding. All my skills target multiple enemies at once, and in general, it just makes it very easy for me to boss raid, because one thing that you need during boss raid is a skill that makes it so your enemies can't run, or something that's able to easily catch up to your enemies, and Thunder excels in that. And I feel like it's also another reason why a lot of people go for the Shikai or the elements that really can boss raid, because they understand that most of the time inside this game, you're not going to be fighting against one person. If you go for an element that's like Thunder, Flame, or maybe even Water, those three are very good at boss raiding because they have good crowd control. But you don't see people using Creation, you don't see people using Win unless they're stuck on it after a roll, and if they do get it and decide to have the Bankai, those Bankais really just excel inside 1 versus 1s. Now, it's not bad, and not everything should be able to boss raid. It's just that if you're going to have Bankais that are mainly dedicated towards 1 versus 1s, and if you're also going to have every single skill tree besides speed kind of be orientated towards 1 versus 1s, I feel like there should be some more type of skills added to the skill trees, or maybe a different skill tree that promotes boss raiding. Now, this is mainly just my thoughts, and I actually want to know what you guys think on this, but just to summarize my point is I feel like everybody mainly goes speed because it's the only skill tree that makes it very easy to boss raid inside this game. So yeah, let me know what you think about this below. Keep in mind, I usually use Kendo. It's actually my preferred fighting style, and I do find it to be like the best inside the game to be as well. But I did switch to speed because most of the time inside my fights, like even when I pop my Bankai, most of my skills besides my TNG are orientated towards 1 versus 1s, and I would just get hit by multiple people at once, which in turn would lead to me dying inside my Bankai. And I didn't want that, so I switched to speed because speed not only has the speed of flash stepping, which I feel like should be universally tied towards your grade. So what I mean by that is each flash step that you do, like you see how if you go 50 speed, your flash step actually moves you somewhere. I feel like if you're an elite grade, that should just be there by default, and the speed tree should maybe give it like a slight boost so that even if you go Hakudo or Kendo, it's not like you're really stationary during the fight and like having a speed user dash around you every 2.5 seconds. But I just went on like a small little rant at the end right there. Like I said before, let me know your thoughts on this, and hopefully you did enjoy this video. Yeah, speed on top for boss raiding. Yeah.